How to warm up. So as you're gonna warm up for training, it's a super important part of your whole session is getting yourself prepped for what you're gonna be doing. So the best way to start that is first get a sense of what you're gonna be doing in that session. So is it more of a squat dominant a session? Is it more of like an aerobic session? Is it more of an upper body session? And once you have an understanding as to what it is that you need to be warming up, then you can get a little bit more focused. So globally speaking, when you first roll into training and you're gonna start to warm up, you wanna do something just to literally bring up your core temperature, help get your nervous system on par for the fact that you're no longer resting, that you're gonna start exerting yourself and doing some training. So an easy way to do that would be spend a couple of minutes doing a little like light cardio. Ideally, if you can do this nose breathing, that'll down the road make you more efficient as you get deeper into that training session. Something where you just kind of get yourself going, especially mentally if you're not really feeling like training. This little bit of a buy-in to the training session, one, makes you warm, makes you a little bit more supple when you get into your mobility work. But B, what it's also gonna do is just help give you time to like get used to the fact that you're gonna start training. And usually once you start moving a little bit, your nervous system catches up with what you're doing and it's gonna be easier to take off. From there, you wanna get into like some more, just like general physical preparedness warm-up stuff. So like I like to look at like, can we get in some hip mobility work? Can we do some inchworms with an instep stretch where you step your foot around the outside of your hips, getting a groin stretch, maybe reach up towards the ceiling with a thoracic rotation. Can we do some band work for our hips? Can we do some thoracic work for our upper body? And then from there, we wanna get more specific into what we're gonna be doing. So if you're gonna be back squatting in that session, you might start doing some, after your band walks, you might start doing like some air squats. You might do some split squats. You might do split squats where you keep your heel down and drive your knee as far forward over your toes as possible, working on building capacity in your calf and at your ankle joint, all of which is gonna be super pertinent to squatting. You might do some 90-90 hip transfers, working on internal and external rotation of your hips. All of these kind of sport-specific movement patterns that you're prepping. You can get into like some hip cars, some spine cars, putting each joint through its fullest range of motion. But then as you get into a position where, like, say you're, again, using the back squat example, and this is one example, you could do this for everything, you might get into something else that further preps your nervous system. So you might, you know, as you're warming up the barbell back squat, you might do a couple of wall balls just to work on absorbing the energy as it comes down and being explosive going back up. But ultimately, from a warm-up, you want to start globally speaking where you have, you know, just your whole body starting to move in a capacity, ideally nose breathing as you do that. Then get into like more joint-specific positions, so, you know, warming up the joints that you're going to be using for that day. And then from there, get into the movement pattern specific. So like in the squatting example, or if you're pressing, do some push-ups. Do something that's going to, in a low capacity, mimic what you're going to be doing. So basically, you're creating a series of steps that's warming you up for the big movements you're going to be doing, as opposed to coming in cold and expecting your body to perform well. So that's the whole point of a warm-up and the easy way to structure that as you get going.